Thank you, Myra. Let's give it up for Myra, who does an amazing job connecting the community to resources. As she said, I am Diana Holmes, Community Manager with JP Morgan Chase, and I'm joined by a very distinguished panel, and I'll introduce them one by one. We have Nick Cavaliere, who's the Business Relationship Manager with JP Morgan Chase. Give him a hand.
Welcome, everybody. Good morning.
We have Marina Manzanares, who is a Senior Business Consultant with JP Morgan Chase.
Yeah, thank you.
And we have Juan Nathan, who is a business relationship, let me get his title correctly, regional.
That's right.
Regional Business Development Officer with True Fund. Thank you all for joining us today. I want to tell you a little bit about what JP Morgan Chase has did in the communities across the U.S. So the firm has made a racial equity commitment to uplift Hispanic, Latino, and Black residents, and we're being very intentional in the things that we're looking to focus on. One is around financial health, helping individuals to understand how budget savings and credit plays a part in whatever goal that you have, whether it's business, home ownership. Another area of focus for us is home ownership. We're looking to increase affordable housing. We're also looking to train and develop those individuals who are on the path to home ownership, purchasing those homes for the first time. Another area of focus for us, which brings us here today, is supporting minority entrepreneurs, bringing those much needed resources and capital to the community so that those individuals can thrive. So without further ado, I want to jump right into this conversation that this panel is going to bring life to. Marina Manzanares, who is the Senior Business Consultant, her role was created as a part of the racial equity commitment that JP Morgan Chase has made. So Marina, tell us a little bit more about your role and what you do to support minority-owned businesses.
Well, thank you, Diana, and thank you to the Hispanic Chamber for this opportunity, and thank you all for being here today. As Diana said, my name is Marina Manzanares, and I am a senior business consultant for JP Morgan Chase. And really what my role is to be that mentor, a coach to small businesses that are looking to scale. Especially minority entrepreneurs. So we will go over some of those details as we walk through today. But one of the reasons why this role was, like Diana said, it was recently created, and when it was presented to me not that long ago, actually, New Orleans is one of the 21 cities in the country where JP Morgan Chase has made that commitment to. So it was just brought down to our region, which I feel that's a great opportunity for not just our small businesses, but our communities of color, that for us to have that privilege, to have that very intentional impact, right? So with us coming in here, our goal is to be able to elevate and to be able to support and provide those resources, and especially capital, when it comes to scaling small businesses. When it comes to banking, people just think of walking into the bank, making a deposit, withdrawing money, opening an account and whatnot, right? But there's so much more. And learning about this role, it really did touch a very soft spot for me. Many, many years ago, I was a small business owner. Somehow I ended up in banking a little bit over 20 years ago. And I've been everywhere. I've been from retail, branch manager, community development. I've worked in we will learn a little bit about CDFIs in a bit. So I've worked a lot with small businesses. The majority of the time, I was mainly doing loans for small businesses, which we would learn how that works in this space. But I did find myself a lot saying no, because a lot of our businesses were not prepared to access capital. And when this role came about, for me, it was important because it gave me an opportunity to be able to really sit down, find out, why are we saying no? Why are you not ready to access that capital, and how can we get you ready? So my goal is mainly to be able to put the human resource behind capital. And when I think of capital under my role, it's not just the financial, it's not just the check that we're going to write. We're looking about the intellectual capital, which is what you need to know in order to access capital. The social capital, which is who you need to know in order to access capital, and obviously the financial capital at the end. But a lot of times businesses, that's not exactly what they need. It's not just the money. A lot of times they think like, oh, I need a loan. When we sit down, the majority of the time, that is not what they need. They don't need another loan. They don't need another debt. They need to know how they're running their business, where there's some challenges, and we're going to peel back every layer. Sometimes it may be a little bit painful, right? To really realize what's going on so that we can really get to that, whether it is increasing cash flow or even understanding cash flow. So I don't want to bore y'all and just take over the conversation, but so so it essentially is really just working with small businesses and then identifying, like I said, who you need to know. And one of those who I need to know, right, or you would need to know, would be what we have at Chase is a business relationship manager, and that's where my role comes in, interacting and working with Nick.
Thank you, Marina. So I don't know about you all, but definitely, do you hear that passion she has? And she's very knowledgeable. So Marina's role is, how I want to describe it, she's the glue. She's the plug. She's the person that you need to know at the bank if you own a business, because she's going to sit right in the middle of all the resources that are happening within JP Morgan Chase and that are also happening in the community. So now I'm going to introduce Nick Cavaliere. I want to talk a little bit more about your role and what you do for the firm.
Well, I'm just simply here to support Marina.
You're not getting off that easy.
All right. Good morning, everyone. How are you? My name's Nick Cavaliere. I've been in banking for 18 years. Actually, Nicholas, but if my mother were here today, she would tell you that only call him Nicholas, do not call him Nick. But anyway, 18 years in banking. I've been through almost every department that a bank has, through a training program, as a lender, as a collector, as a business development officer, as a loan officer, and now a business relationship manager with Chase. Excuse me. And one of the, I guess, greatest things that I'm passionate about when it comes to small business owners is working with a different person every day and a different business every day. And everyone still has somewhat of the same needs. They still want money. They still want protection of their money. They still want the easiest way to move money around on a daily basis. And they want to know that they have someone that they can trust and talk to in person, over the phone, what have you. So as a Chase banker, I feel like we really thrive in every single one of those categories, and I think we offer some of the best products out there and best advice. So today, I want to talk to the audience a little bit about accessing capital. I want to talk to you a little bit about how I support Marina, how I support small business owners. You want to go on to?
Yeah, why don't you tell us a little bit more about what you do?
Okay. So as a business relationship manager, I have a portfolio of clients that I work with on a daily basis. And those clients typically have $1 million or more in revenue. And the reason for that is because we have a banking system whereby, our branch can support a lot of those clients up to that dollar amount. And then my service gets a little bit more personal. There's a very large or very big, service responsibility when I bring someone into my portfolio. You have my phone number, you have my email address, you can text me, and with that, becomes a great amount of responsibility. So we want to make sure that when you call or when you have an issue, that we can fix it for you. But we try not to have many issues, but unfortunately things happen. Fraud is a big hot button in today's society. We see it every day. Cashing checks become harder and harder. You think about, why am I writing this check when I know that it's going to get lost in the mail? So there's all these different factors that play a part into my being as a business relationship manager. And the other thing is, I want to help small business owners grow. like every plant needs water. Every plant wants to grow. Everything in life wants to grow. We've all grown from a baby up until where we are now. So growth is tremendous. One of the ways we get there is by, lending money, as well as management of your operations, management of your money. A credit card, believe it or not, is a great tool to help clients manage money. Why is that? Well, it keeps it keeps cash in your checking account, and it provides you an ability to make financial decisions over a 30-day period instead of maybe just a 2-day or 5-day period. And that is tremendous when you talk about, capitalizing on your money. So, I'm not going to spend a lot of time today talking about credit cards, but I do want to support credit cards 100% in, paying for expenses, not necessarily paying for product that goes into every project, but paying for, those expenses, whether it's travel related, whether it's utilities, whether it's, purchasing items, all those things. Credit cards are super to use and easy, and they also protect your account from fraud. If you have an issue with that card, someone doesn't have direct access to your checking account. With a debit card or an ATM card, they do have those, they do have that capability. So, that would be one of the, good things I want to talk about today.
Do you mind if I interrupt and just point out something real quick? Now, I know we heard Nick just mention that a business relationship manager takes on small businesses with a portfolio. Their revenue needs to be at least $1 million, right? In order for him to be able to manage that relationship. And one of the things about that I've learned at Chase is that Chase is very intentional as to why they do the things the way they do it. Just like Nick said, there are a set of responsibilities for a client of that size, right? But we do have the resources to help those smaller businesses that they're not there. And our goal really is to be able to get you and graduate you there. So for instance, for me, a small business client would be someone that is at $100,000 minimum revenue, and at least it's been in business for at least a year. That way we can be able to have a historical data. We can actually see that this is a business that's actually ready to be able to scale. But just because you're not there does not mean that we can't help you. We're going to make sure that we provide that guidance so that you could get where you are, so that when you get to someone like me, I'm able to refer you if eventually. We want you not just to stop with Nick, because we do have resources for larger revenue type of business. And a lot of times, especially small businesses, they think that is such a hard target. That is something so unattainable because they're just so focused on that very small where they are right now. And where we want you to start thinking is on growth. And the most important thing is that you're not alone. As a business owner, you do have the support. It's just getting out there. I had a few conversations already today, and that's kind of what I'm hearing the most from small businesses is and that's why these events are so important, especially now that we're coming back to them, because it's so important to collaborate and find out what resources are available, who's out there, whose door can I knock on so that I can get on to that next, or just, hear me out, right? Because it's really hard to get everything that's in your head and actually translate it into paper.
Yeah, well, thank you, Nick and Morena. So they've said a lot, right? But the one thing that I want you to take away from the two of their conversations is that within JP Morgan Chase, we are willing to meet a business where they are. We know, everyone may not be at that $1 million in revenue. Everyone may not be at 100,000 in revenue. But we do have resources available to help you and meet you where you are. I always tell business owners, it's not too soon to have a conversation with someone who's managing a portfolio of $1 million in revenue, because that may be your goal, right, to get there. Why not have a conversation with this individual today? I'm at 50,000 in revenue, but I need to know what are the things that I need to be doing today? What are the things I should be thinking about today to be a Nick's client, to be a Marina's client, right? So that's the message that I want you to leave with today. I don't want you to hear those numbers and say, oh, they can't help me. No, these are resources for you today, wherever you are in your journey. But I want to connect some dots here. So we have Marina, right? She's the person that's mentoring you, coaching you, looking at those financials. I think you used the term that you're peeling back every layer to understand what is truly happening with the business. And then her role is to say, okay, this is where you are today. Either I'm going to own your relationship and coach you up. If you're already there, I'm going to get you to Nick, where you can now tap into those resources. But we have one other resource that's sitting at, that's a part of this conversation, and that is Juan Nathan, who's of True Fund. He's another community partner who works very closely with us. So Juan, tell us a little bit more about you and your role at True Fund.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, Diana. First thing I want to say is I'm a proud Chase alumni. So Diana was my branch manager. She actually gave me the opportunity to come back and restart my financial career. So I'm very, very grateful for her. And Nick also was my BRM when I worked at Chase. So I have very close relationships with those two, and also with Marina and Jared. You know, we all work closely together. So True Fund is a nonprofit CDFI. Our mission is to help historically disadvantaged individuals and communities create thriving and resilient businesses and entrepreneurial ecosystems in order to close racial and economic disparities and ensure an inclusive and equitable society. I had the mission pulled up and I read it verbatim because that's the most important thing to me, is the mission, right? That's why I wake up in the morning, the mission. When I took the job at True Fund, I was like, okay, I get a job to learn credit, learn commercial lending. And then I really got into the meat and potatoes of what we were doing, and I fell in love with it. So as a community lender, we do a couple of things to support our mission. The first thing is we offer free educational programming. Veronica Reyes, stand up. Veronica is our program officer. So she facilitates and trains small business owners. We have multiple educational offerings that we offer throughout the year. It's free. Every business can benefit from our programming, regardless of size. So feel free to visit our table and talk more about it. And on the lending side, we're a community lender. We provide small business loans to minority-owned businesses, women-owned businesses, veteran-owned businesses, and also businesses that operate in low to moderate income communities. We have a wider credit box, so we can oftentimes work with clients that may not be considered bankable. So, if Nick gets a loan and he can't do it, he can send it to me, and in most instances, we can help. I've helped multiple Chase clients get access to capital, and not just Chase clients, but just, community businesses that I've been introduced to throughout my tenure at True Fund. So I'm not going to talk about product, but I'm going to talk about impact, right? Because that's what we do it for. Every loan every dollar that we lend, it has to impact it has to be impactful. It has to help our community to thrive. So I can talk about several loans that we actually provided that impact to. Just closed a real estate loan on Friday for a small restaurant in Holly Grove, and they had the parents owned the restaurant, and two siblings, a husband and wife, decided that they wanted to take it over. They took out a high interest loan to buy out the other heirs, and they had a 1-year note on the loan, so they had to refinance it. So we started working with them last year. We continued into this year. We were able to get them out of a high interest loan of in excess of the 12%, cut that interest rate in half, and give them a longer term on that note. In addition to that, we also saw an opportunity where we can help with some leasehold improvements to the property. So we also gave them a grant for $15,000 to kind of help with that. That loan gave impact because that restaurant is located in a low to moderate income community, and they pretty much feed their community. So when if you go to their restaurant, nothing is priced over $8. So they serve breakfast and lunch. Anybody that lives in that community can afford to eat there. We kept them open. That's impact, right? I had another business owner that we closed a loan for a few months ago. She came to us with funding last year. We weren't able to get it done. In the interim, she took out several high interest business loans. She needed the money to mobilize on contracts, so she did what she had to do as a business owner to get the revenue that she needed. So she took out these loans. It was about $200,000 in lending, in loans that she took out. We were able to take a second look at it this year. Her monthly payments on that debt was $42,000 per month. So we were able to structure a deal where we refinanced all of that debt, gave her more favorable terms, and we were able to get those payments down to $7,000 a month. So we freed up $30,000 in cash flow. That's impact, right? So those are just a couple of examples of businesses that we work with. We are a smaller lender, so we can get very, very creative with how we structure deals. We're a small company. We're able to get on the phone with the director of lending, who is my boss, Robert Benitez. We're able to talk to the chief credit officer, and we're able to talk to, in some instances, the CEO to get deals done. And lastly, the last thing I'll mention is, not every business is capital ready when we meet them. But our goal is to connect them with programming. Our goal is to stick with them so that way we can get them to the point where they are capital ready. And when we get them to the point where they are capital ready, my hope is that they don't need a loan, right? Because we've been able to help them to turn things around, to increase revenue, increase their bottom line. But if they do need us, we can be there. And we partner with Chase. We partner with other financial institutions. We have Lift Fund, Daniel Freeman. He and I work very closely together. We're a community-based organization. We're a whole ecosystem. Anybody that wants to learn more about True Fund and ways we can help, we have a table downstairs. Thank you.
Thank you, Juan. So that impact, right? I don't know how you can leave this conversation and see that impact or share that with another business owner. But I want you to also see how this is a consortium. It's not just the bank versus CDI or CDI versus the bank. We're all one. We're all advocating for that business owner to be successful, period. If there's something we can't do, that's just a phone call away where we're calling those community partners and say, hey, take a look at this. Is this a client that you can assist? Help them, right? That's it, period. And if you can't do it, the expectation is that you pick up the phone, the new person, and find someone else to help them that's within that consortium. So meeting businesses where they are, regardless of where you are in your business life cycle, it's all about starting. Regardless of where you start, if you start with Lift Fund, you start with True Fund, or you start with Chase, we're letting you know that we mean business. That's why we chose this topic. We want you to be successful. We want you to stay in business. But not only do we want you to be successful, but we want your peers, other business owners, people that you impact, people that you interact with in your profession and in your network, let them know that we exist. Because if they don't know that True Fund exists, let me ask this question. How many of you all in this room knew that True Fund or Lift Fund existed? It's about slightly half. Slightly half. So let's think about that, right? If all of you all are sitting in this room and half knew and half didn't, can you think about those mom and pop stores that are so busy, right, making the muffins, so busy, creating a purse, or so busy, doing what they do, they don't have time to research and learn about these other resources. So that's one expectation I have, or call to action I have for everyone in this room. Share that these organizations exist. But I'm gonna shift a little bit and bring it back to Marina, because I want you to double click a little bit more, because as I said before, she's the plug, she's the glue, right? Tell us a little bit more about that Minority Entrepreneur Program and all of what it involves. If you can tell us a little bit more about that.
Sure. So our program is really to prepare, like I've mentioned before, small business for capital. We do this through one-on-one mentorship and coaching. There is a beginning and an end to the program, so it's not that, okay, we're going to start here, we're going to go on this road, and we have no idea where we're going to stop, where we're going to end. We're going to have this one-on-one mentorship. We're going to discuss what your needs are, we're going to discuss really what your opportunities are, your threats, your strength. and figure out what is it that you really need right now in order to scale. Like I said, most people come and what they think they need is money. But when we sit down and do that analysis, we call it the SWOT analysis, we figure out that money is not really what it's needed at that time, right? So we're going to work through those. We're going to create an action plan to be able to work through it so that we have an objective that we actually meet. And the most important thing is that, like I said, there is an end. So we do end with a graduation. There's actually a graduation where we've met that. We're not going to abandon you or leave you in the middle of it, right, until we meet that. But we're going to make that very, it's going to be very objective. We're going to really, kind of go through like, what is it? What are the steps I need to take? Who are the people that you need to be connected to? Who do I need to call? Do I need to call Nick? Do I need to put you in contact with True Fund? Do I need to sit down and look at all your financials? In fact, today in this room, I have a mentee that I'm working with. She's right here. And we're right now sitting down and she's putting together her financials, sending them over to us. We're going to look over, create a cash flow, and understand where her business is so that we can figure out how she can get to that goal that she has. So we will have a deadline in a sense, right? But we're going to figure out what's going to be, whether it's 30 days, whether it's 2 months or 6 months. So that way at the end, when you look back, you say, okay, I did that. Now I'm ready for whatever that next step is.
Thank you. I believe we have time for about 2 questions, Myra. Okay. So anyone has a question for either of the panelists? You can just stand and say it, and I'll repeat it to the audience if it's not audible. Any questions? Yes, we have one in the back.
I was just wondering, are you focused only on New Orleans-based businesses, or is there a broader geography that you do?
That question is for me? Sure. So her question is if we are offering this just for New Orleans-based businesses. The answer is no. We are offering this to anyone that has a pulse, right, that wants to grow their business. Because at the end of the day, we all live in a community, and I personally want, not just because is what my job is, but I want my community, right, to strive. So my focus is here in New Orleans in helping minority entrepreneurs here in the New Orleans area. I mentioned earlier that our program is in 21 cities, but that does not mean that we will not speak to a small business that's not in New Orleans. In fact, my mentee here, she is not in New Orleans. She's in Baton Rouge. And actually her business is registered in Georgia. So it's not just for New Orleans. I'm here in New Orleans. So in all of our sessions, they're all done via Zoom. So it's not like, we could meet in person, but the majority of them will be done via Zoom. So we could definitely service you that way.
Great question.
Thank you.
One more question, Myra? Yes, Ms. Joanne? Consortium, right? I talked about this consortium. So please share your title for those who don't know who you are.
Okay, I'm Joe Lawrence. I'm the Deputy District Director for the SBA Louisiana District Office. Okay, just a worker. My question is reference to credit cards. And we know that a lot of businesses will use credit cards to get their business started because they have not had the benefit of this type of conversation. So they'll start with their credit cards, finance and everything. I wanted to know, if you get involved with consolidating that credit card debt like was mentioned with lowering the payments, getting them from under that high interest rate.
Yeah, so if I understand the question correctly, how do we better assist our clients with financing or decreasing the interest rate that they have on, or consolidating a bunch of different credit cards that they use to invest in their business? Okay, good. All right, so the first thing I'd like to say is credit cards are not meant to be used as a long-term capital source. So that's where, Marina comes into play. We're talking about, some of the best things that we can do for business is not just giving money out. It's really learning how to use those tools. So a credit card is really meant to be used, to cover short-term capital or short-term cash flow, or to pay for expenses. Now, if that piece of equipment, let's say a computer, is something that you use to purchase the credit card with, to purchase, you use a credit card to purchase that computer, then you would want to make sure that you are able to pay that back within a shorter period of time than 12 months. And hopefully, really, what our Chase credit cards are designed to do we have 2 cards that allow you to have a 0% APR for the first 12 months. So that does allow you to manage that payment to where it's not due at the end of every month. But really, you want to pay a credit card off every single month, every 30 days, because the rate's so high. So let's talk with that client and find out what other, from the get-go, maybe using a credit card isn't the best step forward when starting a business, for all of your capital. So does that answer a little bit of your question?
It does. It's just that, having been around for so long.
Sure.
I know that a lot of startups, used credit cards.
Yep.
Because they couldn't get financing. And so they went out and they started buying equipment with the credit card. They weren't able to pay it off every month. And the debt just continued.
It accumulates.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, like making revenue is tremendously important. So, and having a business plan is a part of making that revenue. So it's really, the first step is the most crucial step, and that's why we want to make sure that, when businesses are having problems or or they want to start properly, really having these conversations and making sure that the outline it fits the bill. That's the most important part, and then we can work with those folks on trying to reduce their debt, and work with guys like Juan, or even inside of Chase as well, if there's opportunity.
I'm so happy you mentioned business plan because we talk to a lot of people and it's like, do I really need a business plan?
Yes.
Absolutely. It's kind of like saying, do I have a goal? What is my mission? Right.
What's my purpose?
It's like going to the store with no list. You buy
Yeah.
everything in the store.
I think we can take one last question. Yes. Juan. Okay.
I know you didn't want to get into products, but that's what my question is about, very quickly. So you mentioned a couple of term loans and real estate loans. Do you guys provide any type of working capital line of credit for people who have a contract but don't have money, say, for mobilization or to support their cash flow needs?
That's a great question. So, no, we don't offer lines of credits. However, we do have a contract and mobilization loan. It is for contract-based businesses that need help with mobilization. With that particular, with the contract and mobilization loan, we can offer you up to 30% of the value of the contract. The contract is actually used as collateral. We collateralize it by either taking an assignment on the contract or by using a dual-party check. And once we have the assignment, once we see that you have a contract signed and we see the amount of the contract, then the underwriting is a little bit different. We can actually use that contract to secure the loan. It's generally speaking is a short-term loan, so anywhere from 3 months to 18 months, and the whole thing is to get you the money that you need up front to get started on the contract. So it is something that we talk a lot about. We have a large footprint of that particular product in New York, and we're actually trying to do a lot more of those loans down south. So I'm talking to a lot of clients in Texas and Louisiana. So, we can certainly have a discussion about it. My table is downstairs. Yeah.
So with that being said, thank you. Myra is controlling this time.
Up to 30%
Juan is
of the
going to
contract
be here.
value.
Okay, Juan is going to be here. There's a table.
This is a very important conversation,
Yes.
and this is definitely to be continued. And, thankfully, we have great partners in this field that we will continue delivering programs like this. You'll, see them through our Facebook, all of our social media, and e-blast that you get very often, I know, and read everything. So, yes, we have one last question. You have.
He already answered.
Oh, you answered.
good.
Okay.
So thank you. Don't wander far because the procurement panel, which is also amazing, and all of you, if you have a small business and you're here, this is definitely
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you all.
Thank
Thank
you on behalf
you.
of JP Morgan Chase.
Thank you, Myra. Great job, guys.